Hi guys, welcome back to the weekly Armchair Kickoff podcast. This is the Devil's Advocate show, talking all things United. We're going to be talking the protests yesterday and obviously the Leeds game that's coming up today. I'm joined today by three wonderful gentlemen. Greg to my left, Tim down in the corner, and Reese in the other corner. I've done that completely wrong, but they're here regardless. How are we today, guys?
Doing well.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
Tim, I appreciate you getting up so early for us.
What's that?
I appreciate you getting up so early for us.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Kickoff's at 9 o'clock anyway, so I can get up and get ready for that.
Exactly. I'm looking forward to it for sure, 100%. I wanted to start with the protests yesterday. I know it's all been all over social media and it was very, very well documented. And in my opinion, it was very, very good as well. I know there was a small minority of people who were taking it just a little bit too far with burning flags and stuff. I don't agree with that. But for the part that I was there, at least, it was very peaceful. And it was so good to hear like the chants that you would hear on a match day. And it was good to get back to some sort of normality as well. And they kept it about the owners as well, and there was no kind of Ollie or player agenda that I heard. All of the chants as well, they were chanting Ollie's name, which is something that you would never really hear about online because apparently everyone on Twitter hates Ollie. So, but they were chanting his name, and it was so good to get back to Old Trafford because it's the first time that I've been back since that City game, since that last game. Yeah. So it was just. It was so amazing just to be back there. Greg, I'll start with you first. Did you see all of the photos and stuff? What do you think about the protest?
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. I think it's really easy to forget when you've not been in the stadium for so long that we are sort of one fan base, especially when you look on things like Twitter and stuff like that. You would think like the most toxic fan base, for my money, is our own, because the agendas that everyone seems to have, and they can't put them aside for one thing. But yesterday it seemed like they were doing so. It was just really good to see like all the fans coming together for one cause, and it made a stand, and people noticed and things like that. And obviously next week can only get, or will only be bigger, with obviously it being a bigger game. And yeah, there were some people that took it too far, but that was always going to happen. It's always going to happen. You've got a large group of people. There's going to be a certain amount that take it a step too far, but everything that I saw and all the videos and things that were sent by yourself and other people that were at the protest seemed like everyone was in good spirits. It seemed like people were coming together. It was a nice thing to see from that fan base that you don't get to see unless you're really there.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. It was just nice to see everyone come together, and even I saw people that I know have had beef on Twitter with each other, kind of all like coexisting and just for one cause, because that's the main priority here, is to get them out. Like you can put. Like I have players in the team that I don't necessarily think are United quality, but I would never say that I had an agenda against, because I think an agenda is where you can't take into consideration, say, like a good performance. Like
want them to fail, don't you? That's
exactly. Yeah. So like some people have an agenda against like Harry Maguire, like Pogba. They can't put that aside. But I think just for the greater good, like the Glazers are the main parasites in this club, and that's what needs to change. Tim, what did you make of the protests?
Yeah, it was brilliant. Greg kind of summed everything up nicely there. But yesterday, like on social media, and you had YouTubers getting together with top Reds and the top Reds, and it was just we need that. If it's not like that, then the protests and this movement isn't going to work. Like it's going to take a very unified effort to keep the pressure on them. And I know people were saying, well, why are we doing a protest now? We're doing one May 2nd. That we need to strike while the iron is hot. We had right or wrongly had the thing that happened in Carrington when the fans got in there. Now we've had this protest, and now you look to May 2nd. I mean, that's like a sustained period of over 10 days where you're going to have some sort of action against these owners. And I'm not sure if this will work necessarily against the owners, but and push them out. But what it might just do is tip it over the edge for the government to step in and pass legislation and make some sort of reform that this can never ever happen again. And of course, like you guys said with the flag thing, it shouldn't have happened. I don't think that people are necessarily anti-American that are burning a flag or right. But I think they're more or less. I think they're anti-Glazer, and that's where it was born out of. But nonetheless, it certainly shouldn't have happened.
I completely agree with you. I don't think that people went out there to be xenophobic or to burn a nation's flag. It's not. I've got American friends, Canadian friends, all on Twitter as well, and I know that they do take it to heart sometimes when. Yeah. But I think what they just don't understand sometimes is that it's just because they're American and what they only care about their American team. Like if they, I think I saw it on Twitter, if they were to choose over the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl with the Bucks, or the Premier League or the Champions League with United, they would choose the Super Bowl with the drop of a hat. Absolutely, there's no doubt about it. Yeah. So I agree with you, Tim. I don't think they meant to be xenophobic and horrible about the Americans, but I think it's just what they.
It was a way to hurt them, wasn't it? That's what they were trying to do. They were trying to get to them in any sort of way.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it maybe went a bit too far, but it came from the idea was to not offend everyone. It was just to sort of get a response.
Because there's been a lot of American sports bashing, in my opinion. Like they've been saying oh, the NBA, it works because it's the NBA, but don't try and mix it, is what I agree with. But they try and kind of say, well, oh, the NBA and the NFL are shit. Like, you shouldn't be, English football is English football. So, but I think the NBA works because it's the NBA. The NFL works because it's the NFL. Just don't try and change traditions that have been over 100 years old.
And people get that over here. Obviously I have a family connection to United, so I got it from an early age. But people that just started supporting United and don't have that connection, they understand the culture and the history. This isn't a North American thing with, we want to turn English football into we want to change English football and steal it. This is a Glazer and an American owner greed thing. It's got nothing to do with fan base over here.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Rach, I'll come to you next. What did you think of the protests? Were you as proud as what I was?
Yeah, I was all considering. I was there virtually live. I was on All for United, so I was doing it from them. So I was on their stream. It was very impressive. The only thing I can say I was not impressed with was obviously the flag burning. But if you're going to burn a flag, I suggest just creating a flag that's shaped of just the Glazer's face on it and just burn them. It's probably better burning a flag that's personal rather than burning a flag that's of nationality. But other than that, no, I thought it was good. I thought it was a great start, and we'll see how it goes. There was about 3,000 people there, and there wasn't even a match day. So it's a great start, and we'll see how it goes on a match day.
Yeah, it was a great turnout. And I don't believe in this notion that you either have to go to one or the other. It's like you go to the E-Reds one, I think that's what they were calling it yesterday. Or
Everyone's referred to as an E-Red now,
yeah, exactly.
I hate that. I hate that term. Like I got called it. I got called it last year. Someone went to, "Are you just an E-Red?" And I was like, "The fuck's an E-Red? Is that some sort of electronic card for measuring my gas or something?" And they went, "No, it's because you just watch football from home. Have you ever been to Manchester?" I was like, "Well," my response to them was, "Well." Sorry, my response to them was brilliant. My response to them is, "Well, my mum and dad are diehard Manchester City fans. Do you honestly think my dad's going to take me to Old Trafford?"
No,
and I used to work weekends, so I would have to watch the games back or whatever. So I never had the chance. Yeah. But now I'm old enough to go on my own or go with friends. I'm like, well, I can go. So your point of calling me an E-Red, you can call me it, no problem. But there are circumstances that dictate why I couldn't go in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Mm. And I hate this notion that people are so obsessed over where you live. If you're a Man United fan, Manchester United would not be the worldwide club that it is if we didn't have fans from across the world. So I just don't get this notion that if you're a Manchester United fan, you have to be from Manchester. You have to be a season ticket holder. I'm lucky enough that I live in Manchester and have a season ticket, but I know that I've worked hard for it and that I'm lucky. But I know that there's people out there that aren't as lucky. And I know there's people from the other side of the world that would get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch United. And to me, that's dedication. Like, that's so much dedication to get up at that time to watch us potentially lose to Burnley. Could you imagine? I'd be fuming. 100%.
I get the point. Yeah, I just got a notification come through. Dan James is starting this afternoon, so it literally just came through on my phone. I was like, great.
Buzzing.
This game suits him. Suits him to start this game.
That'll wake me up.
Yeah. Well, he's like a wicket. Of course he'll wake you up.
He's getting better on the ball though. Like his on ball,
he's getting there.
Improved so much this season. I think probably being in Wales, he seems to be really good pals with Gareth Bale. So I think when they go away with Wales, he learns a lot off him, and he seems to be getting a lot more confident when he picks up the ball now that he'll try and do something, because what he was doing before was either running behind and receiving it and then just sprinting, or he was passing it straight back. And then he get. I don't agree with the abuse he gets for taking them on and failing at either. Like, because Rashford does it 13 times a game. Was like, we'll do 35 step overs and fall over, and then it's like, oh, but it's Rashford, it's fine. So James is younger. He's played at a lower level for a longer period of time. Like he was never going to come in and be Man United ready to start every league game. He's there as a squad option. I think he's done quite well, especially like the second half of the season. I thought he's been brilliant.
I would have loaned him right at the beginning as soon as we got him in. That's my thing. As soon as we got him, I would have loaned him out to get more experience.
I think we would have if we
needed him.
Yeah, we would have if we brought somebody in. But I think the plan was to him to either be loaned out or just to be as a squad option. But because we didn't get a right mid and then we got injuries, he had to play like the first 10 games.
Yeah,
and then
he's up against a team that will definitely suit him, and that is Leeds. So
that's what I was saying. Is he's going to get space. They're going to press. He's going to get space. So they'll be able to take a more direct approach, and this is where we have to get on the ball and try to make things happen. Get behind.
Definitely. I wanted to quickly come on to Leeds as well, because the form, obviously they haven't lost in the last 5. They've won 3, drew 2. Obviously they've had some really big results in there as well. You think the likes of City and Liverpool as well, and they drew with Chelsea as well, albeit it was a 0-0. But they've had some pretty big results in there, so I think they're going to be really high on confidence. And also the fact that we beat them in the manner that we beat them in the previous game, I do think they're going to be raring for it. They're going to be up for it. So we need to be on our game today. And I don't know what it is, but we've had a week break now, so they should be fresh. They should be raring to go. But it kind of reminds me of, when you have an international break and you don't really know what to expect when they come back. So I was... I'm a bit apprehensive, I'm not going to lie, but I'm feeling confident. Greg, how you feeling?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. Leeds, as we've all discussed, Leeds play into our hands a little bit with how they play. They're not apologetic about it either. So I very much doubt they're not going to come and set up as a low block. They're gonna start hot like every team does against Man United. Every team tries to catch us early because it seems to be that we start really slow. We'll start hot if we can if we can just get a hold of the game nice and early. Obviously, the goal in the second minute in the first game really set the tone for how the game was going to go. But I can't see that happening again. I don't think we'll score again in the second minute. But as long as we control the game well, they'll come out. They'll press. They press hard. As we play to the best of our ability, we should be able to beat them pretty comfortably again. Before we played them last time, I think they beat Newcastle 5-2. So they were high in confidence then. They'd scored a load of goals and then they got sort of brought back down to earth. So hopefully this time and last week against City, they were lucky. Like, as much as a good result it could be, they were lucky. They're not going to do that again. They're not going to be able to defend like that again against other teams. And I think in the last couple of weeks, the way Man United have started to look like breaking down low blocks, especially against Burnley, I was really impressed with how quickly we moved the ball left to right. We were trying to utilise it. There was actually movement from the front 3 as well. So if we keep that going again, we should be absolutely fine. I'm pretty confident about today. as long as we play to the best of our ability. Obviously, if we get the Man United that played against Crystal Palace or anyone like that, then we could be struggling. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. I do hope so. And Andy says it below, 3-0 win today. I hope so, Andy. I really do hope so. Reese, I'll come to you next. What are you expecting from Leeds today? Because I know there's so much that gets made about Leeds' style of play and Bielsa ball and all the kind of, for the defensive frailties they make up an attacking premise. So what are you expecting from Leeds today, mate?
I think you've nailed it on the head. I think in terms of defence, they're the worst defence in the league for me. I've seen better defences in the Championship than Leeds, but they're by far the best attacking team in the Premier League. I don't think. Obviously, we've scored 100+ goals, but Leeds are more relentless as an attacking team. So I think they're more likely to cause us problems than we are, I think, in this situation. However, what I don't want us to do is match them intensity for intensity. I want us to be a little bit more. I'm going to say it because it's been the first time in a long time. I'd say we should be a bit more conservative today.
Yeah.
Let Leeds expel all that energy.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot out of them playing that Bielsa style. Let them take out all that energy, control the game, stay in it. If it's like 1-0, like if it's like 1-0 like to us at the same time as they're knackered, then second half blitz them, because frankly, if we can force them to expel all that energy, by the second half they're going to be dead. Yeah. So I reckon at that point we could easily make a couple of substitutions if necessary and then kill them off. I'm going for 4-1 Man United. I think we're going to smash them in the second half, to be honest.
That's confidence. I like it. I'm going to quickly read out the team as well. So Henderson in goal. Then we've got Lindelof and Maguire at centre-backs. I'm reading it from the United one, so I'm just trying to figure it out. I've got Shaw at left back, Wan-Bissaka at right back. Then we've got McFred, Fernandes, Rashford, and Greenwood. What do you think, Tim?
Well, you called the midfield, so I'll give him that.
Yeah. A bit worried about McFred, to be honest, in this game, just because they're not the quickest at breaking us out sometimes. Kind of turn the ball over in some bad areas. So that's my worry. Obviously, with a team that presses us, we've seen it in the past where teams have pressed us and they just turn us over in some really, really bad areas on the pitch, like right outside of our box, or the next thing you know, they're right at our goal. So hopefully, of the two, obviously Fred would be the quicker. So hopefully they can break us out. I guess a bit surprised maybe that Pogba is on the bench for this one. Knowing that you're going to need that composure. You're going to need that composure on the ball. But yeah, it's not a bad team. It's not a bad team. Obviously, like loads of pace going forward with a front three of Rashford, Greenwood, and James, and of course
in
Bruno.
The natural in a natural position of an extent, except Greenwood.
Yeah, so it's just going to be a matter. I think it's just going to be a matter of maintaining that link between defense and attack, because sometimes it happens with us where we get so there's so much separation and our lines become so spread from back to front that that's where we get into trouble. So hopefully McFred and McTominay can do a job for us today for sure.
I hope so. They're a bit shaky at times, but he does seem to want to go with them in bigger games and kind of games that you need a lot of kind of composure in that midfield. But we don't have a CDM. We don't have a CDM that's competent, really. I don't mean to be horrible to Matic and, but his legs went a few seasons ago. And I think that is one of the main areas that we need to look at in the summer, even more than a centre-back, in my opinion. We do need a centre-back, don't get me wrong, but I think a CDM should be more paramount, because we need midfield, because Bruno often drops back so often that he's doing two people's jobs.
Comes so deep.
Exactly. He can't get forward, and he's essentially creating the chances for himself. So if he had a competent CDM there to help him out, obviously him and Pogba work very well, but we need someone like Ndidi or Rice or Who else is there?
I honestly wouldn't take Ndidi over Fred. Like, genuinely, I think Ndidi's
Mhm.
just a taller Fred. I don't think he's as bad on the ball as Fred is. Like, I feel it's got to be someone like Rice or
Yeah.
even Basuma from Brighton or anyone. Like, there must be players in Europe as well that like Coop Miners.
Miner.
Yeah, from Alkmaar, who's brilliant and can cover on the left as well if need to, like left back if need to. But I watched Leicester the other day and I thought Ndidi was awful. Like, for how good Leicester played fine, they played okay, but I thought Ndidi, he reminded me of Fred. He was just bigger, and I think he gets away with it a lot more because when he bodies people off the ball, it looks impressive. Whereas when Fred knocks someone off the ball, like the commentators are like, "Oh, well, Fred's done something." Like, he is treated a bit like a joke.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but yeah, you're absolutely right. CDM has to be the area we look at in the summer. And in fairness to McFred, they've been better in recent weeks. Like, Fred since the Brighton game has been really, really good.
Yeah.
And the team that's picked looks like a team that's picked with one eye on Thursday. With Pogba maybe not starting, you imagine he'll start on Thursday against.
Oh yeah.
Who against?
Roma.
Yeah.
Against Roma, yeah, you'd imagine he will start. You imagine Cavani will start against Roma as well. Bruno will obviously play against Roma. So
and we're up against the back three on Thursday.
They don't need Pogba to be in that game because Pogba. I don't think did Pogba play the first game. I don't think he did he?
No, he's
Leeds game.
Against Leeds, no.
No, I don't think he did. So maybe they're thinking if we can get away, like really, if there's a game that you can get away with not playing Paul Pogba in because you're going to need him through the week, you're going to take that chance. So yeah, I think it'll be absolutely fine. Like they played well in the first game. Pogba's not necessarily going to be a big game changer for a team like Leeds. It's not control in the midfield that you need in this game. It's pace going forward and moving the ball, like Tim said, moving the ball from midfield quickly on the counter attack. So maybe McFred isn't the worst option there.
I think it's also defense is going to play a massive part in it today because we know that they're quite frail, but we also know that we know very, very well that we can be very, very frail at the back as well, especially from set pieces. And everyone knows that. So they're going to try and get set pieces from anything, like obviously corners, free kicks. We're frail from anything. Every time we get a corner, I think, fuck, they're going to score here. 100%. I have no faith in the aerial presence anymore. It's just completely gone. But I feel like the defense is getting better. Obviously, the clean sheets do show that. And we've said it in the past as well. Henderson and Maguire and Lindelof work in tandem together. They work so much better. But Henderson needs a big game today, and he needs to kind of shut a few people up because people have been speaking about kind of, oh, is he really ready? Or should we stick with De Gea again? But I'll put it out to you guys, actually. Are you team De Gea or team Henderson? Greg, go for it.
I think Henderson, like as good as De Gea has been, he's been on the wane for a couple of years now. He's not going to refine the form that he had a few years ago, especially in that 2015-16 and 16-17, obviously. He's never going to find that form again. He's just had a kid. He might want to go back and play in Spain. It just seems like the stars have aligned to sort of allow him to leave or try and arrange a move to get him to leave. And we're not going to know if Henderson's good enough unless he plays. Like, we're not going to know Henderson's good enough if he sits on the bench behind David De Gea, plays every cup game. And the last thing we want to do is sell Henderson and find out, oh no, he really was good enough and going to have to pay 70 million or 80 million to go and get him back. It's a nice problem to have for a change for Man United to have choices in a position and not be short and scrambling around and thinking, oh, who's going to play here? But I think Henderson should. I think he's done enough to deserve the chance. He did a lot at Sheffield United last year. He's been really good for us this season, bar a couple of brain fades. His distribution's not excellent, but his distribution isn't brilliant either with his feet. So, yeah, I think Henderson deserves a chance. Hopefully he'll be number one next season and get the actual number one shirt, because a goalkeeper wearing number 26 should be banned. Horrible.
Tim?
Those American owners with their 20 high goal goalkeeper numbers.
Exactly. Tim, are you team Hendo or team David?
That's a tough one. I think probably at this point it looks like Ollie's going that way as well. Ollie's going that way as well with Dino. It seems that transition has started, doesn't it? He hasn't put a foot wrong. there's games maybe where he can start a bit braver, but then he sort of seems to grow into some of these games and starts the confidence level increases after he's made a couple of catches or has cut out a couple of crosses, or done something to grow into the game. So I think that will come as he grows maturity as a player. I think it's going to be an issue for them going into the close season because it's a hell of a lot of wages to have. I think we're at $450 grand a week on keepers. Yeah. So it's probably going to come to a head, I would think, in the close season, and we might see De Gea out the door. The only thing is, are you going to be able to get the money for him that you want for him in a pandemic summer?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I do think it's sad, in my opinion, because obviously, in my opinion, he is a Man United legend. I know some people would dispute that, but his performances, he carried us. He dragged us through the Premier League for 3-4 seasons. Yeah. And he was absolutely pivotal. He was the best keeper in the world. I'm not saying he's still one of the best keepers in the world, but he is declining, and there's no hiding from that at all. Dino, he is still very young though. For a keeper, he's extremely young. I mean, you look at a few keepers that didn't really come into their prime until their 30s, like 33, 34. So he's still very young. But what I love about him is he's so confident. He wants it, and he loves Manchester United, and he wants to be here. He wants that number 1 shirt, and I don't think he'll stop at anything to get it. And in my opinion, he's proven himself. Yes, he's had a few blunders, but hasn't De Gea as well? I mean, every single player in the team has made an error leading up to a goal or giving the ball away or something. So he's obviously not above criticism, but I think you've still got to bear in mind that he is still so young, and he's still learning, but he's getting there, and I think he is our number 1 for the future. Reece, what do you think?
I get where you're all coming from, and I totally agree. I think in terms of the Premier League, I would stick with Henderson. In Europa League, I wouldn't play him. I would keep that to De Gea for the sake of we're going to win it, so it's good for De Gea to get a trophy. But in all fairness, I'm team Sergio Romero. I've always been a Romero fan. I think in terms of out of the 3 goalkeepers, the best goalkeeper statistically at Manchester United is Sergio Romero. He's got the best save percentage out of all 3 goalkeepers. He's got the best distribution. He commands his box better than all 3 of them. He's got far more respectable demeanour as a goalkeeper. And for me, that's why he should be playing more. Like the fact that he's been unfairly dropped for a pensioner in Lee Grant sickens me, because this guy's won trophies. He's been to a World Cup final, and what's Lee Grant done? He's got a Superman for an agent. That's it. Like, it's a disgrace. But
I was going to say, even with
I would go Henderson.
Yeah.
Romero out of the 3 of them, I think is the best out of the 3 of them by far. But if I'm going with a goalkeeper right now, I'm going with Henderson for the league, and I'm going for De Gea for the Europa League. But the fact that Romero isn't even going to get a swan song of his own, he's just going to get cast aside in the summer. It's horrible.
It is sad, and I've always said, I think when Romero was obviously our second keeper, I always said we've got one of the best second keepers in the world, because he was so commanding, and I didn't feel at a disadvantage, say if De Gea was injured or if we were playing Romero. You know how some teams are like, oh, we've got our second keeper in goal today, so we might kind of concede a few. I never felt like that with Romero. I felt so confident in him, and I just loved him, and I just don't know what's happened. It's sad, but he deserved to be playing first-team football.
Yeah. I think they should have let him go.
They should have let him go, and I think either Villa would have been a perfect opportunity for him. But obviously,
I think he would have went to Everton or Leeds. I think if he went to Leeds, they wouldn't have conceded 50+ goals this year.
No.
He had
Not
all
even
kinds
close
of
to that.
he had all kinds of moves lined up. He had moves lined up here to MLS. He had moves lined up back to Argentina. He had moves lined up within the Premier League, and it's a symbol of how United has done business over the years with the way they treat players, the way they treated Patrice Evra, the way they treated Rio Ferdinand, the way they treated Romero. It's just been it's awful.
Yeah.
Exactly. To think like if De Gea had moved on in 2015, like the whole fax machine scenario,
God.
Romero would have been our number one.
Yeah.
I don't think
And
we
I
would have
would have
bought
been fine
another
with
goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have been fine with that.
Obviously, it would have hurt at the time because De Gea, I think, thank God for that fax machine at the time. But literally, after the dust had settled a little bit, I would have been fine with Romero because, like I said before, he was solid, absolutely solid.
Yeah.
And it's just a shame about what's happened. But yeah, like you touched on there, we don't have a great track record in treating our players very nicely when they're coming to kind of the end of their tenure at United.
Yeah.
So it is sad, but again, it's a reflection on the owners, and I'm glad that people like Evra and Ferdinand as well have spoken out about it because it needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. I want to move on to Leeds a little bit. Whoever out of their players do you think are their kind of that you're more worried about? I know you've got your Bamfords and your Rafinhas. So, Greg, anyone that you're particularly worried about?
I would say Rafinha, but Shaw's been so good that I back Shaw against any sort of right-sided player in the league. And Rafinha, when he's starved of service, is quite wasteful as well. Like he needs. It looks like in recent weeks that sort of if he's not had the ball a lot when he does get it, he does fluster a bit. So maybe he just needs to be playing on a bit more confidence. If he can get the ball a lot, then he's more of an issue. But yeah, I'd say Bamford or any sort of striker with any sort of aerial presence is going to be a threat for Man United, because if they've got someone that can put in a decent ball, any striker with aerial presence will try and will probably score goals. That you saw that goal that Diagne scored for West Brom against us, which Diagne's not the tallest in the world, but just how ridiculous we look under a high ball is just so strange. So yeah, I'd probably say Bamford. I think Bamford could really punish us if they are able to get enough balls into the box and enough service to him. Yeah, and he's a decent finisher as well, so he can take a half chance. He's not going to run from the halfway line and beat 4 or 5 players, but the ball drops to him in a decent spot to finish. He'll bury it.
He's got that instinct, hasn't he? He's got that striker's instinct. And he is a class player as well. There's no doubt about it. Tim, what do you reckon? Do you agree?
I would say, yeah, for sure. I mean, Bamford, he's a concern. Cooper, I don't think is. I think Cooper's out for this game. I think, right?
He's
suspended. So he sort of undid us last time. As you touched on, Rach, I think we've conceded like 40% of our goals have been from set pieces, so we struggle. And he caught us out last time. But just their midfield three: Calvin Phillips, Stuart Dallas, Jack Harrison. Their midfield just brings energy. So that they're gonna get into you. I think Stuart Dallas has found some form recently. He scored a couple of games over that stretch that you touched on. So. So just as a unit, I think we touched on the players, but as a unit, I think we just need to be wary of the fact that they're going to get into us, which we know, and deal with it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Sorry, there's just an ice cream van outside. Reece, do you agree? Do you think? I know you touched on Rafinha out of this game, is he?
Yeah, I keep hearing that Rafinha's out. It's due to injury.
Yeah, I've got the Leeds team here if you guys want it.
Yeah, go for it, Tim. Reel it off.
Okay, so we're gonna go. Well, Bamford, Calvin Phillips, Jack Harrison, Costa, Dallas, Roberts, Lorenz, Alioski, Strujic, Eiling, and I'm butchering some of the names absolutely, but Meslier. I don't watch enough. I don't watch enough of Leeds to know how to pronounce every one of their players. So.
Oh, we all hate Leeds anyway. It's fine. We don't watch them unless they're playing United. So, yeah, it's quite good that Rafinha's obviously not. It's not good that he's injured. I'm not saying that. It's good that he's not playing because he is a massive threat. And I think he would do well in a United team, in my opinion, with Bruno Fernandes, because they've got that link as well. So 100%. So yeah, Reece, do you completely agree with the guys?
Yeah, and for me, it's the same sort of players. But for me, I'm going to go a little bit left field. I'm actually a bit more concerned about Eiling. I think in terms of how he's played for Leeds, he's been absolutely superb for them, and a lot of people underrate him. I think he's actually, I think he's a very controlling player. Calvin Phillips, the defensive midfield, the man, like Tim said about terms of the Leeds midfield, he brings energy.
Yeah.
But he's also a good passer of the ball as well. Like when he gets a short direct pass, like he is lethal with that, and he's got the energy to back up if he makes a mistake.
Yeah.
I think Jack Harrison is a fantastic left winger. I think he's got a good future ahead of him. Like if he sticks with Bielsa. Bamford, he's not the typical striker of movement. He's just a typical striker of you get the ball into him in the right spot and he will finish left, right, up in the air, like he'll do it.
Poacher.
I think that Meslier is going to have a decent game in goals. Like, can't wait to us to smash goals into him. But like, he seems to be growing in confidence. So for a young, because he's very young as well. So this will be a big game for him as well. So I'm looking forward to that. And obviously, he's been getting better defensively in terms of commanding his box. So he's going to get a proper test today. So I'm looking forward to that. I mean, not many people would choose a goalkeeper as a threat, but I would, because we all know what this league is full of in terms of goalkeepers. I mean, Ederson plays like an NFL player when it comes to distribution. But no, for me, it's the usual suspects except Eiling and Calvin Phillips. For me, those two are proper nightmares on the ball, and they've got so much energy.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
I love Calvin Phillips.
Oh yeah,
he's such a good player as well.
Outrun today as well, because we've not played in a week. Like it's the first time we've had a week off.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's not like,
very good
hopefully
point.
we don't have that. Sometimes when we've played a Thursday and then we're coming to play the Sunday, it looks like for the first 20 minutes we're still half asleep. So hopefully we don't have that again. Hopefully the boys are up for it sort of straight away and same energy, because the last time I can sort of think of that energy straight from the off was the Leeds game. And as Man United players as well, obviously Leeds players are going to get up for this. If you're a Man United player and you can't get up for playing Leeds away, then why are you playing? Like, you always shouldn't have to do anything to get into the heads and motivate the players to go and beat Leeds.
Same for Liverpool. Like those are the two teams you like. Well, Man City as well, because you've still got the local rivalry. But those three teams in particular, if you do not turn up, then frankly you should have your contract scrapped.
Yeah,
like those are the three most important games for Man United.
At least run about and make movements. And okay, if you have a bad game, you have a bad game. But they shouldn't have to work greatly hard to motivate the players today. So hopefully we don't start.
Is it there's something online I saw just before coming on that Leeds put up a sign or something at their ground saying how we're not the true United, or we should change our name, or
yeah, I saw that. It was a big banner basically just about the ESL. It said you should consider changing your name because you're not United, or something along them lines. It was very lengthy, but it was just freaking.
I've been tweeting them all week. I've been like, anytime I've seen like a stupid tweet by the likes of Florentino Perez or something, I've just been tweeting that Rock video of just shut up, bitch. So to Leeds, it's the exact same standpoint.
Yeah, I think we need to start well today. We can't have any of this second half FC shit. I know we all go on about it, and I know we're all like, oh no, it's fine, second half FC, but I don't want to be second half FC. I want to be
batter them for 90 minutes.
Exactly. I just want to be, a full-on 90-minute FC and actually play a game of football that I don't feel like I'm going to have some sort of anxiety attack.
I agree. That's why I reiterate earlier on when I said I don't mind us today being a second half team, as long as if we're doing it, we take all that energy out of them in the first half. Like we force them to expel all that energy, because by the 60-minute mark, if they will be dead.
No,
you just got to keep it tight. For the first 10, 15 minutes, you just got to keep it tight. They're going to come out with loads of energy, keep shape, stay organized, absorb some of the pressure, and then after that, sorry, it's my kids going mental in the background.
That's all right.
And then after that, then we can. But like you guys said, like starting early, it's not a sustainable model that we have to keep going down behind in these games and then coming back. You're not going to gain success from that. So you really got to focus on coming out here early with some organization, energy, and then get at them.
It is a crazy statistic though when you think about it, that we've won like I think it's 25, 26 points this season from losing positions.
Yeah, it was mental.
I mean, it's a great start, but it's at the end of the day, it's also not a great start. Like that doesn't that doesn't fill me with confidence. Like that just kind of, you know, when you go a goal behind and you think, okay, like they've done it before, but it still doesn't make it like a sustainable kind of picture that you should maybe go out and say, oh yeah, it's fine, just go a goal down and then you can start playing. It's like no.
and like no disrespect to those teams that we've come back against, but like how many of them have been top quality opposition? Like a lot of those teams have been teams that you would expect for us to get at and be able to score goals. You start doing that against, you know, good teams in the Champions League, you're just asking. Take you apart. Yeah, take you apart. Exactly.
I think we saw that with towards the latter end of the Champions League. I'm still absolutely bewildered about how we didn't make it out of that group when we were the last two games and all we needed was a point. It just comes down to that. All I can see in my head is Demba Ba running out of the defence, but it's fine. The defence has come a long, long way since that point. So
it has.
So yeah, but I want to quickly touch on Ed Woodward as well resigning, which felt like we'd just won fucking Premier League or something. I was absolutely buzzing.
It was like a trophy.
It was like winning a trophy. I was like, where's the Ed Woodward's gone trophy? Because I will rep it 100%. I think it was so unexpected as well. Like it just broke straight away. I was just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Is it real? Greg, talk me through your emotions. Like what were you feeling and what needs to happen next?
Oh, I was just ecstatic. Like I couldn't believe it. I never thought, like I said on Keane's show right after it happened, like I was expecting Woodward to outwork the Glazers in terms of he would be at the club longer than the Glazers would. And I was pretty convinced the Glazers were going to be there until they died. So it just
one has.
Yeah, one has. It just seems like, I don't know. It was a weird feeling. Like you said, it just sort of broke out of nowhere. Like teams were dropping out of nowhere, and then it was like, oh, Ed Woodward resigned. We're like, what? Like it came out of nowhere. It was just absolutely brilliant. In terms of going forward, like it just needs to be someone that's football minded. It can't be another banker, businessman who's going to get good social media, like who just cares about social media numbers or just going to get good deals with sponsors. Like it has to be someone football minded, someone like a Van der Sar, but they still need to have the football the experience as well. I don't want us to go out and get like Rio Ferdinand, because I back Rio Ferdinand to do a worse job. Like his punditry, because if he does his job like he does his punditry, it'll be awful. Like it would just be like some of it. I feel like a lot of Man United fans get caught up and like, oh, these play for Man United, just give them a job. It's like, no. I want them. I would rather get someone like football credentials, and Van der Sar's been doing it at Ajax for a long time.
Paul Mitchell or Rangnick or something.
Yeah, someone that
proper know what they're doing,
knows exactly what they're doing, can identify players, can negotiate for a change. Like it would be nice. It would be interesting to see, because obviously it won't be. Talk says he's going away at the end of the year. I know there were some reports that it might be sooner, maybe this summer or things like that. But if it is the end of the year, it does mean that our first proper transfer window won't be until, like without Woodward, won't be until next summer. So it'll be interesting to sort of see the difference. But I know there's a lot of Man United fans that are like, oh, we won't spend now because all this has happened. I think the complete opposite. Like I think the Glazers will want to spend to try and get us to loosen our stance and try and get us to soften up a bit. That's the only reason they did the letter. They didn't do the letter because they were sorry or because they felt that they were going to get forced out of this club one way or another, or they were going to end up with some serious consequences in some way. So that's why they did the letter. So I would expect a lot of money to be spent, and the purse strings to be quite loose going into the summer. But we obviously, as fans, can't let that just sort of brush away everything else that they've done. So it'll be interesting to see. It just needs to be someone football minded. Like, that's all I care about. I don't care whether they've played for Man United, whether they've got a grandparent I don't care. I just want them to be football minded and know what they're doing in that job, because that it needs to be what's best. Like what Gary Neville always says, best in class. It needs to be.
Yeah.
It can't just be the flashy name or who's someone that's played for Man United.
Yeah. I completely agree, and I actually agree that they would spend this year to try and get us all back on side. But I'm all for that.
They're not
spend
going to.
whatever the hell you want.
Then go.
That's
Yeah,
great.
it's fine. Yeah.
You can get us Sancho, get us Haaland, get us a
And we'll
world.
get Ronaldo.
Bring Ronaldo home, and everything is forgiven. No, I'm joking. But bring in some good players as like a passing gift, as if to say, if you're really sorry, here's Sancho, here's Haaland, here's Ronaldo. Now we'll go. That's
Bye.
what we
There you
wanted.
can
And
go.
it's like, right, don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Tim, do you think you have anyone in mind that would maybe replace Woodward, or do you kind of agree that Van der Sar or?
Well, I think like the guys kind of touched on, Paul Mitchell for me is someone, he worked at Spurs under Daniel Levy, and he was there with Michael Edwards, the technical director of football at Liverpool. So I think if the Glazers stay, it's the thing with United is you need to really have that buffer between the manager and the owners, because the owners operate on such a they don't like to spend money. They like to spend money when they're going to make money. So when we qualify for the Champions League, our spending cuts in half because they've already made their money the previous season from the Champions League.
Yeah.
So to operate within the confines of what the owners have set up, you need to have somebody that can come in that has the football knowledge, that has the ability to work with sort of money-driven owners, don't care about the footballing side. Much to like Ole's doing now, and people criticize Solskjaer so much, but like the guy knows what's going on at the club, and when you hear him talk, a lot of times, like, I don't believe what he's saying. He's paying lip service to the fact that he's got to coddle these owners a bit, and you need a somebody that's going to come in that role and sort of do that same type of job, that is going to be able to coddle them, but also take the money that you're given and make good footballing decisions. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with John Murtaugh, if he stays or if he goes out of this, because obviously he was just promoted into that director of football. I forget what we call it, director of football position.
He's already being called a yes man already. So
yeah. So if they bring in, I mean, this is all. If the Glazers are still around, they're just gonna fill that job with another puppet. They're gonna fill it with another yes man, and it's really gonna have no. We can cheer the fact that Woodward's gone all we want. You just hope that if they do bring somebody in that's a yes man, that they care about the club, that they know football at least, and that they can get the job. They can get the job done. But I wasn't surprised to see it. As soon as everything started falling apart, you knew he was going to have to go, because the Premier League clubs, they wouldn't want to deal with him. The chairmans of the chairman's meetings. The EC, he wasn't getting back into the ECA with UEFA.
He was replaced within an hour.
It was done.
He was replaced within an hour. David Gill
with
got the
David
job
Gill,
within an
right?
hour.
Yeah. So he had to fall on the sword at that point and go. But I think we got to get the Glazers out, guys. I really do. Like, without the Glazers going, I don't think we're going to spend this summer. I'll be honest. Like, I know you guys are saying bring people in. Like, they're drawing down £100 million on this revolving line of credit they have just to pay wages and help the club operate. So it's going to be another summer, and we've seen the trajectory of how the things are going with. They're buying up young, talented players from around the world and trying to develop them through the academy, which I suppose is good to an extent, because it mitigates the absolute disaster that we are when it comes to bringing players in and buying people.
I think that's more a Brexit thing as well. Why the reason we're getting so many kids from South America and Brazil is because that it's less of an issue through Brexit and stuff like that to get them in. It was definitely a political decision to go get players like Facundo Pellistri and things like that. And I think I'm looking forward to see come back. Like, I hope he doesn't go out on loan, because he was obviously playing 23s at the start of the season, was finding it far too easy. Yeah, he's out on loan at Spain now. It'd be interesting to see him when he comes back and seeing if he's ready, because he's highly rated by more than just sort of Man United. So we paid a lot of money for him. So hopefully he comes back.
Pellistri, is that your Pellistri?
Yeah.
Did you say? Yeah. He was like, before he left to go to United. I know, like, MLS clubs here were all over him. All over him. There's like the clubs in North America, but yeah, he was a good little player.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to quickly, before we come to an end, because obviously I'm conscious of time as well. Someone asked me yesterday at the protest if we can catch City. Now, obviously, my head says no. I think they need, what is it, eight more points, and they clinch the league. There's no chance.
Yeah.
But obviously, my head says no, but my heart says yes.
Don't do it, Rach.
My heart says 21 is coming. And when I was a bit tipsy at the protest yesterday, someone asked me on camera, do you think we can catch City? And I just said 21 is coming. So I feel a bit silly now. But for me, I think the main thing this year that we all wanted was progress, right? Under Ollie, especially. A trophy would be great, obviously, because I think Ollie needs a trophy, and the Europa League is obviously our only opportunity to win that. But I think once we get our first trophy, I hope it's going to be like a little bit of a snowballing effect, and we can kind of, they instill that winner's mentality now that, right, we've got our first one, now let's go out and get a bigger one. Because obviously you've got the Europa League, and then, you step up, like FA Cup, like Champions League, Premier League. So what would you envisage, Reece, I'll throw it out to you. What would you envisage as a good season this year?
For me, it has to have the second in the Europa League, because it's been 4 years since we've won a trophy, and I've been on numerous shows this week and I've said the same thing all week, and I've tweeted the same thing all week. This is the last season that I can physically say if he doesn't win a trophy, there's no excuses after this. After this, he's got to win a trophy. Otherwise, he's got to be moved on, because you cannot keep. And I understand fans' perspective of, oh, we're getting rid of the deadwood, we're progressing, we're building a team, we're getting there, we're leading the trophies. But this is my point. We cannot keep using the same excuses over and over when Liverpool are winning trophies again. Man City are dominating the Premier League, and they're potentially going to go and win the Champions League. Like, there's so many aspects. And for me, I like the fact that we've got such a strong core of players. We just need to embed that with a little bit more quality. But we've got to win a trophy, because for me, if we don't win one this year, then I'm expecting at least 2 next year. 2 is the minimum. Not one, 2. So that's my touch on it. We've got to get a trophy. If not, I'll still consider second a success, because it's better in terms of where we are positioned. But if he does not win the Europa League, it is the last season that I want to hear the words, we are progressing. Because next year's no excuses.
But this year, obviously, we are progressing. Obviously, we need to get past that semi-final. I'll speak again after we get past the semi-final, because if we don't again, I won't be held accountable for my actions. I will go mad.
It's 2 legs. It's 2 legs. So
so we're second leg.
That's what was so annoying about last year. It was 1 leg and then it was done. We couldn't do anything about it. But at least it's 2 legs this year. If it goes wrong, like you've got sort of a week to build yourself up and get ready to go. And hopefully this year we can get at least to the final. Yeah,
I hope so. Obviously, Keane says manager needs back to win big trophies, and I completely agree. I think
we would have won this if we'd started faster. We would have won this week.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't been backed. Imagine
you look at some of the points. Some of the points we dropped.
Exactly. Some of the points we dropped stupidly. Everton, West Brom,
Crystal Palace,
Sheffield
United. Like, you win 4 of those games, like, you're absolutely fine. We're top of the league and we win that league, and that's without being backed. That's why I don't get these people that say we've not progressed under Ollie. Like, literally, if we just stopped giving away stupid goals, which I know is much easier said than done, and our start as well. If we started so much better, we'd have won this league. And there's a lot of Man United fans that just sort of look at it. We're second, we're miles behind City. Like, we're not actually that far behind them, and they've got Chelsea, Everton, and Palace to play. Like, who knows what happens? They don't have a good record at Selhurst Park over the last sort of 3-4 years. Everton will still be playing. Chelsea are obviously going to go gunning for top 4. Imagine they lose those 3 games.
Like, it's coming. I told you, 21 is fucking coming.
There is a chance, but I'm not. There is a chance it could happen, but I'm not going to get my hopes up unless they lose 2 of these games. If they lose 2, then I will. But at the moment, I'm not getting ahead of myself. But if it can happen in 2012 against us, why can't it happen in 2021 for us?
Exactly. Obviously, we're not going to win it on goal difference because
not a
it's
chance.
far superior. But we could win it. Imagine winning it by like 1 point. That I think. No, I need to stop. I'm going to end it there, guys.
Bruno
because
penalty in the last game of the season.
Oh, Bruno penalty all time. After City have like just about to lift the trophy, and then like, hold on, no, we're going to go to Old Trafford.
There's a
Bruno
penalty
just scored a
after full
penalty.
time.
Wait, isn't our last game of the season not at Molineux? So if anything, it'll be against Wolves. So it would be nice for a Portuguese player to. It would be nice for a Portuguese player to just knock it past Patricio. So that'd be all right.
That would be great. I remember at the start of the season, I had in my fantasy league, I had Patricio because I thought, he was all right last year. He's going to be solid. That was fucking shite. He's never gotten me a clean sheet. I swear, the time that I've had him, never I've had a clean sheet. And then I changed to Martinez, and then his form seems to have dipped as well. So
I've had Martinez on the bench all season. Patricio in my starting 11. I haven't changed either of them, so that's a mistake and a half.
I think fantasy is just where you just forget. I think I've still got Kane. I think.
Yeah, I got Kane, Bamford, and Ings. I'm like, you'll do nicely.
One
of them's going to be one of those three are going to be a Man United striker anyway, so I may as well just go with either or.
I'm betting on Danny Ings 100%. If it's not Danny Ings, we're going to get Josh King.
I wouldn't mind Danny Ings. He scored 25 goals last year, and none of them were penalties.
Exactly. He stays fit, he score, but it's whether he can stay fit.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Josh King, in my opinion.
Josh King, why?
50 million.
Why did you say that?
50 million for Josh King.
I know you're trolling.
I am trolling, yeah. I'm going to end it there because we are getting close to kickoff, and I know we all need to sort ourselves out, do any pre-match rituals that we do. I have to get a cup of tea. Like, it has to be a fresh cup before kickoff. It has to be like really hot, so this is going cold. So I need to go get a fresh cup of tea. Nice. Well, enjoy your watch along, and thanks everyone for watching today. The Devil's Advocate, sub to the Weekly Armchair Kickoff podcast. Don't forget to like the video as well. Follow us all on Twitter. That would be great. Greg, do you want to shout your Twitter out?
Yeah, so it's just there. It's at Greg_D_Chambers.
Yeah, Timbo, go for it.
Yeah, Niagara MUFC for the supporters group over here, and then Niagara Red's my personal one. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. And I will be over in Canada as soon as I can.
Yes.
And I'm going to come to the pub.
I got a fresh pint waiting for you, so
can't wait. Can't wait.
She says Canada, but she doesn't mention Scotland. I feel offended.
What's just a given?
Win the NBA championship while Toronto are at home. You'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
You can watch the Clippers win the championship while.
Oh, come on, man! What you had to do that to me, didn't you?
Yeah, like
that's why Greg's my boy.
Rach. You know what? The first time last night, I actually watched an NBA game because it was on at a decent time, and they fucking lost.
I know.
It's fine.
That says it all for you. That says it all. Watch at a decent time doesn't work.
No, I think I'll just wait until like 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm shattered and don't really give a shit. I'm just like that. Rach, do you want to shout out your Twitter as well?
For me, it's United Venom 7, injecting some lethal Twitter into some morons.
Nice. Sounds good. Thanks everyone for getting in the comments as well. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like and sub to the channel as well. And we will be back, I assume, at some point next week. We'll be back. We've got 3 Devils and a Gooner as well with Amy, Jen, Sophie, Chelsea, and myself sometimes. So yeah, enjoy the game, Reds, and we will see you later. Bye.